Good day, my dear grade 7 learners. Welcome to our English class. I am Camille A. Gadingan, but you can just call me Ma'am Camille. For today, we will be having an interesting and meaningful discussion. Are you ready? Let's go! Let's learn together! At the end of this lesson, you are expected to identify sentences as active or passive, transform sentences from active to passive and vice versa, and appreciate the importance of using active and passive voice in the appropriate situations, taking into account usage, effect, and intention. Before we proceed to our lesson proper, let us first unlock some terms related to our topic. Active, when the subject is doing the action of the verb. Auxiliary verb, a verb used in forming the tenses, moods, and voices of other verbs. Doer, the subject that is a person or thing who does the action. Object of the verb, the object that receives the direct action of the verb. Passive, when the subject is being acted upon. Subject, a person or thing doing the action or doer of the action. Transformation, a thorough or dramatic change in a form or appearance. Verb, a word that suggests action or state of being. Voice, the quality of the verb that tells whether the subject is the doer or the receiver of the action. Nowadays, digital world can be toxic. We can easily be judged with our posts and status in social media. One incorrect structure of your sentence receives a million criticism. Thus, it is important that we know how to identify and construct sentences. However, always remember that bashing someone who commits an error is not the best way to correct them. If you are aiming for self-improvement and constructing sentences, you are on the right track. I would gladly want to help you with some simple tips in changing the active voice to passive voice and vice versa. Prepare yourselves a pen, paper, and your mind because today we will learn together. Let's start with the voices of the verb. Do you know what are those? Right! Voices of the verb focus on the function of the subject, being either the doer or performer or the receiver of the action. They are classified as active voice and passive voice. When the subject does or acts upon the verb, the sentence is said to be in the active voice, while when the subject receives the action of the verb, the sentence is said to be in the passive voice. In active voice sentences, the subject does the action. The sentence structure would be subject plus action verb plus object receiving the action. As we have learned in the active voice, the sentence subject performs the action. Here are two examples of sentences in the active voice. Shira likes bird watching. She loves twilight. No matter what verb you use, structuring your sentence so the subject performs the verb is writing in the active voice. The active voice has a direct, clear tone. Use it when you want the reader to focus on the subject of your sentences and the action it is doing rather than on the action's target. In passive voice sentences, the subject receives the action. The sentence structure is subject plus auxiliary verb plus past participle plus preposition by plus object doing the action. In the passive voice, the action's target is the focus and the verb acts upon the object. Or, to put it in the passive voice, the subject is acted upon by the verb. Every sentence in the passive voice contains two verbs, a conjugated form of to be and the main verb's past participle. Take a look at the previous examples. Now, change into passive voice. Bird watching is liked by Shira. Twilight is loved by her. Notice how the targets of the action, also the direct objects of the sentences, are now the focus. The sentences now contains a conjugated form of to be, which is, and the main verbs past participle liked and loved. Often, sentences in the passive voice are longer than sentences in the active voice, simply because they have to include additional words like prepositions. Take a look at the sentence in the passive voice. Summer break is loved by my friends. The passive voice has a subtler tone than the active voice has. Sometimes your writing needs this tone, like when you want your reader to focus on the action being described or the action's target rather than on who or what is performing the action. Let us have an activity this time. Identify the voice of the verb in each sentence by answering some questions. Number 1. Ada cooked a sumptuous dinner. What is the subject in the sentence? Correct, it's Ada. What did the subject do? Great! Ada was cooking. Number 2. My classmate was hit by a car. Is the subject the doer or receiver of the action? You got it right. The subject is the receiver of the action. So, is it active or passive? It's passive. Perfect! Just remember that to be able to get to the correct answer, you need to use your analytical skills and follow the rules strictly. In this instance, you must think about how the verbs in the active voice will change when they are transformed to the passive voice. This time, I will discuss the tips in changing active voice to passive voice.
Tips in changing active voice to passive voice. Number 1. Identify tenses of the verb and change it into verb be plus past participle tense. Example, when it is in active voice, the government gives relief goods. When we change it into passive voice, it becomes relief goods are given by the government. Number 2. Move the subject to the end of the sentence. Number 3. Move the direct object to the beginning of the sentence. Number 4. Add the preposition by before the object of the preposition. Number 5. Add an auxiliary verb be before the main verb.
Now, try to rewrite sentence number 2 by changing the verb from active to passive. The first one is done for you. Great! Let's try one last activity. I hope that this will be easy for you to do. This activity is called Speak to Tell.
Using what you just learned about the use of active and passive voice, this time construct a sentence using passive voice based on the picture and change it into active voice. I will give you 30 seconds to organize your ideas. Good luck!
Wow! You've answered the different related activities that sharpen your skills in active and passive voice of the verb. I would like to congratulate you all for a job well done. Thank you for spending your time with me today, and let us continue learning. Goodbye and thank you. Have a great day!